The truth about single moms is 1 in 4 homes is single mom led. 50% of all of American children are expected to live in a single parent home before age 18. Most of those single moms are single because they began in a committed relationship, and they're single due to divorce or separation. They didn't intend to do this on purpose, to be a parent, a solo parent. And 3/4 of them have full-time careers. They're taking care of their children. Less than half get any sort of government assistance. The ones that do it for a short amount of time until they're on their feet, and then they're taking care of their children. Less than half get child support. The average child support that they get is $6,000, and I'm here to say that's not enough to do braces. And 100% of them wish that the cleaning fairy showed up every week and left something delish simmering in the oven when she left. 85% of them do not attend church. And I'm trying to think, there was one other thing that was important. Oh, 100% nearly of them are going to feel very not enough. They were not enough for that relationship to last, and so they're in trauma. And so people will say all the time, you know, they'll watch a single mom, they'll watch her kids, and you see the behavior, and it's like, what is she thinking? Well, she's not. And it's because it's impossible. Because when we go through a trauma, such as the breakup of that relationship, that very central, important relationship, the front part of our brain is the thinking part, and it goes offline. And we go back here to fight, flight, freeze, or please. And we stay there because the trauma keeps coming. Because when there's a breakup of that important relationship, then there's court issues, there's agreements that don't work, there's sometimes relocation, there's go get a job, there's heartbroken children, and then there's the calls and the visits, and every holiday is a reminder that things are not the way they're supposed to be. And so she stays offline, and she stays back here in trauma, and she's just reacting, not responding, which is the fight, flight, freeze, or please. And the way that shows up in our children is when our children have broken hearts, they act out. And so they're the kids that wind up down at the principal's office. And then everybody's like, see, those single moms are not good moms because the kids are down at the principal's office all the time. And the truth is, they're down at the principal's office because they have broken hearts. They don't know how to say so. It comes out in their behavior.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Speechless.
Okay.
Like, let me get myself together. So, how did you come to write this book?
Oh, gosh. I have my children. The youngest was a year old when their dad chose out, and everybody makes decisions. We're all doing the best we can to live the best life we can. And our choices a lot of times impact someone else. So I became a single mom at that point, and last year, the youngest got married, she graduated college, and I had some people come to me and say, you know, you ought to write about this. And I'm like, oh no, I don't want to go there, because this is my experience, not my identity. Single mom is, single is a relationship status, mom is all the time, but it can change. And I just didn't want to be known by that, but somebody said, wow, you know, if you have known a lot of things that work and a lot of things that don't work, and I'm like, I totally know things that work and I totally know things that don't work. So I decided I'll put down all the things that work, all the things that will help other single moms coming along to have a successful, thriving family. And then I partnered with a co-author, Pam Farrell. Some of you might know her from, yeah,
yes,
she wrote.
She's awesome.
They've got 50 some odd books, her and her husband Bill, but they wrote Men Are Like Waffles, Women Are Like Spaghetti. That was their most famous one. Ooh. And I partnered with her, and I called her up and I'm like, Pam, work with me on this book. And she's like, girl, get another single mom. And I'm like, no, because Pam is the promise. Pam's mother was a single mom. And Pam is healthy. She has worked through stuff. She has a solid relationship with her husband. She's raised a solid family. And so I said, I want moms to know, moms and their kids, this is your experience. This is not your identity. And so she came in with me, and we put in all the best things that we know for being a family together.
So how do single moms heal?
How do single moms heal? That's probably one of the best parts of doing the 10 best decisions a single mom can make, because we have trouble making that next right decision. So we put that in the book. The 10 best decision was like, what's the next right step? I am so stuck, I can't think. And so it's like, let me show you the next right step. and then the next right step until we get your thinking part of your brain back online.
So, I'm a single mom. And I tell my kids now, hindsight's great. It's beautiful. I'm like, oh, I thought everybody was fine. I thought we were having a good time. I didn't realize what they were all, because you're just trying to get through life.
Yes.
I'm working, we're traveling, we're doing whatever, you're doing the best you know how to do. And then,
Doing the best you can.
and then the enemy comes later and, attacks you because, oh, you didn't do everything you were supposed to do.
Yes.
And, so it's difficult. So you do go through those. You're saying this, and I experienced it, but I never have been able to look at it like that.
I didn't realize that I had been in trauma and offline for years until I heard a woman speak on it, and I'm like, there I am. Oh my gosh, that's me. And so then it was like, that's why it was so difficult to make good decisions when we most need to. And also with our children, too. And so I think counseling is always a good idea if you can get your kids to be able to talk to someone, if we can go talk to someone who helps us see through different eyes than what we're seeing through. And then I need to hear voices that are different than the voices in my head, because I'm just offline, I'm reacting. And so the cool thing about a church is that if we can invite our single moms, because if you have 1 in 4 homes is single mom led, your biggest mission field is probably right in your neighborhood. And so you can go out and invite them in. And when you do invite them in, have excellent child care for them, and then have an opportunity where you welcome her. You're like, come. There's a seat right here for you. The door's open, the lights are on. I have a spot. We're going to tell you about Jesus. And then let her sit for an hour each Sunday and be fed. Let her be fed. Let her children be fed so that her tank is full. And then she's able then to go out and start the week again. And so make it very welcoming for her. But no, when that mom comes in that church and when she comes in with her children, she feels not enough. She already feels ashamed. She already feels humiliated. And so it might not even be the church at all, but it's how she feels. And so if you recognize that she's kind of sensitive and she wants to know that she belongs somewhere. We come to church because we want to connect and belong. And then a cool thing that a church can do, because Pam Farrell and her husband did this, is create a success net. And a success net is when you bring the mom in and you're like, what do you need help with? And I know for me, it would have been, I have no idea how to do insurance. Can somebody tell me how to find car insurance, house insurance, medical insurance? I don't know what this is. And there's people in the church that would know how to do that. And they'll be like, oh yeah, let me help you with that. And so if we can set up a success net to say, what are your needs? What are the parts that you're struggling with? And then we will give you 5 or 6, 7 people that will feed into you for like maybe 6 months. We can reevaluate then, maybe for a year. What do your kids need? Oh, you're having trouble with calculus? I mean, when my kids took calculus, I thought, that's a disease. I am so sorry your kid has calculus. I'm so sorry. Have you seen a specialist? But somebody in the church is really good at math, and they can come alongside and help your kid be able to do the math class that mom can't help. And so the most important thing I think for single moms to do is to press into the Lord. And we feel like we don't want to because, after all, he let this happen, right? He didn't do it my way, didn't do it according to the way I wanted. And so I had to work through that. But then also, if we can teach our children and introduce them to the Lord first, because whether you have 1 million parents or just one, no parent can give enough to fill the child's love tank, no matter how hard we try. The only place we're going to get that is from the Lord. And so the sooner we can introduce our children to the Lord and get them a relationship with the Lord, we've got their eternity settled. And that's eternal.
One of the things, the scriptures that helped me was God promises to be the father to the fatherless and the husband to the widow. And even though I was divorced, I considered myself a widow, that he's going to be my husband, going to take care of me. And for my kids, it's like, yeah, you can't be enough to them.
No.
But God cares about them, and he's been faithful, and life has not been perfect by any stretch for any of us.
Right.
And nobody I know,
No.
literally, but, and God is there, and He cares about us more than we realize. You know, His love is so vast, and nothing can separate you from the love of God. No height, nor depth, or what's the scripture? Terrible about quoting it, but nothing, literally.
Yes.
And so, some days, on the hard days, that's what you have to rely on. You know.
Yep. And divorce is not the unforgivable sin, but I think within the church sometimes we've treated it that way, but it's not.
That's
I mean,
right.
God says in Jeremiah 3:8, I give my bride a certificate of divorce for her unfaithfulness. Marriage is a contract, it's an agreement, it's a negotiation, and we know those things get broken all the time. It's not right, it's not good, it's not how it should be, but it's how it is. And it gives us the opportunity to forgive. It gives us the opportunity to come back together. It gives us the opportunity to renegotiate something that works better. And sometimes you look at it and you're like, this just is not going to work. This contract is broken, and so there's not going to be a coming back together again. But that's always the time to press into the Lord. It's always the time to be in community with God and with His people and with church. And one of the things that I noticed in my family was that there's like times that we get together and we have this baggage that I'm bringing in. And so we have family gatherings and we sort of emotionally abuse one another and then have pie. And I'm like, God, what is this? What is this? Yeah. And I felt God say, well, you know, there's one common denominator there because, you know, He says, as far as possible, live at peace. And so I'm like, well, I'm doing my part. It is clearly all of them. And God said, Peggy Sue, there is one common denominator in all these relationship issues. It's you. And I'm like, okay, teach me.
Yes.
So there was this morning when my daughter Hannah, as a teenager, she gets up and she comes into the kitchen and she's just grousing around the kitchen. And so I make her pancakes and tea and I tell her jokes and I try to make her happy and smile a little bit, and she just doesn't. So at that point, I'm feeling rejected. I have tried to cheer this girl up, and she has not cheered up, and so I feel like my efforts are rejected. I don't like feeling rejected. So rejection happens first, so then I go into resentment. I'm resentful that she has rejected me. Then from there, I move into resistance. Well, fine. You're not gonna look at me? I'm not gonna look at you. You're not gonna talk to me? I'm not talking to you. Like, that is mature. But that's how we treat the people that we love. And so then the next one is revenge. And I was about to start the revenge, which would have been, Hannah, have you checked your room lately? Have you seen how that room needs to get cleaned up? How about your schoolwork? Are you keeping that above sea level? Those stilettos that would come out of my mouth, that would come out at her, and what's she gonna do? She is gonna backpedal, right? Mom's on the rampage, let's get away from this. And then as she backpedals, then we go into repeat, because then I feel rejected again. And so then we have this cycle that we keep going through until the home that I need to feel consistent, because we've been through a lot, now it has become unsafe.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. To see more like this, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and get all the latest content from TCT Ministries. We'd love to pray alongside you for God's blessings in your life, so you can email your prayer requests to prayer@tct.tv or click the link below and submit your request at tct.tv. God bless you and thank you for watching.